Hey everyone, welcome to the Farming Pastor's Wife. I'm so glad you're here. My name's Leslie and you are in my kitchen down on the farm. I need to plug my lights up. They're not, I always forget to turn those on. Anyway, today we are going to be making a pasta dish. Seems here lately I've done a lot of pasta dishes and tonight is no different. We are doing a Cajun shrimp pasta dish. So what I'm gonna do is get everything ready. I just made the tea, stirred it up, got it in the refrigerator, and so we're gonna get started pretty much on everything else. Just forgive the dishes I have. I've been cleaning dishes and the dishwasher's full, so I'm having to let them dry right here. So just disregard stuff that's sitting there that shouldn't be. But I'm going to get everything I need out, and I will meet you probably over on the stove. Bryant, I had a pot that I had carried over to Caroline's, and I was over there the other day, and she said, "Here, Mama, here's your pot. Take it back home." So I stuck it in the car, and I need it tonight to cook the pasta in. So, I mean, I've got other pots, but it's like my favorite. But I will, it's in the car still. And Bryant's not here. He has my car. So hopefully he'll be here in a little bit. If not, we're going to go ahead and get started on everything else. And then all we'll have to do is boil the pasta whenever he gets here. So, all right. I'll meet you over at the stove in just a little bit. Okay, in my pan here, I have about probably a tablespoon or a little more of olive oil. And here in my colander, I have about, I'm guessing about a pound. It was a 2-pound bag, and I kind of eyeballed half of it, of just large, peeled, deveined, tail-off shrimp. And so we're going to get that going in our olive oil. I also have some Cajun seasoning, which I use it's Creole seasoning, the Tony Chachere's. So you use whatever Cajun, like I know there's a Zatarain's, I believe. There's several different brands, so you use the one you like, and then use the amount of like if you know yours is extra spicy, go light on it. I'm really not sure how much to use. My recipe calls for a total of 2 tablespoons. One just on the shrimp, and then another tablespoon in the sauce. I'm probably just going to shake it and eyeball it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my colander over here, and I'm going to start sprinkling this like this. And then I'm going to take one of my wooden spatulas, or there's a word for these, and I always know it, but then when I go to say it, I can't think of it. And we're just going to put some more on there. And then we're going to get this down in our olive oil. And we're just going to cook these just until they are done and no longer translucent. They'll turn like a pink color, and maybe 3 minutes. I probably like mine more done than most people, so I usually cook them a little bit longer than others, but I would say about 1 to 2 minutes per side is how I would do it for a normal person. I may go a little longer though. Okay, now a lot of people would take the time to flip each individual one. I don't do that. I just stir them up and try my best to see what side they need cooking more on. But they're going to cook no matter what. One side may just get browner than the other, but all right, we're going to cook just a tad bit longer. Okay, everybody, I'm going to just get these out. I have a bowl here. I'm just putting them in. I've turned the burner off just so nothing burns or anything. And I'm going to keep this pan. We're going to use this exact same pan. And as soon as I get all of these out, I'll get the next step ingredients out. We're now going to work on the sauce. I decided not to wait for Bryant to come home with my noodle pot, or it's actually my soup pot. So I've got some water in my Dutch oven over here. We're just going to go ahead and get that started. I'm going to get these shrimp out. I'm going to get everything else I need over here. The other ingredient, there is so few ingredients, but your flavor is going to come from the beautiful shrimp. There's going to be some Parmesan cheese in it. Your flavor is going to come from this, but there's not a lot of ingredients in this. So it's going to be super flavorful, but you don't have to worry about having five spice jars out or anything. So we are going to put a little garlic. We have this and the shrimp and just a few other basic ingredients, and it's going to be so flavorful. It's going to be amazing. So, all right, I'm going to get everything else out. I'll be right back over here. All right, so to this pan, I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of butter. To the oil that's left, we're leaving everything that was in the pan in there. We're not taking any of that flavor out. We're going to add a little bit of butter. We're going to turn the burner back on, and I'm going to turn it probably medium low. And to the butter, I'm going to add some minced garlic. And we just want to cook that just till that garlic cooks down just a little bit. I'm going to add another spoonful. It calls for 2 cloves of garlic, and I always do a little extra by using this minced garlic. All right. So we're just going to let this cook for just a little bit. While this is cooking, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tomatoes. It calls for diced tomatoes. Now, it doesn't specify if that's canned diced tomatoes or to dice up a tomato. And since it's not summer and it's not good tomato season, I'm going to use canned because I just prefer that if I'm going to do something with tomatoes and it's not tomato season. I mean, I have bought store-bought tomatoes if I need to, but I would rather not. And so we're going to let this garlic cook down just a little bit. So I'm using just a can of diced tomatoes, and I drained it just a little bit. We're not going to put this whole can. We're only going to use half a cup. I did drain it just a little bit, but I think some of that juice in there will actually be pretty good. But this is just no salt added diced tomatoes. So we'll get ready to put that in once I feel like my garlic. You don't want to burn your garlic at all, but you do want it to cook the rawness out of the garlic. So, all right. I think it's pretty close to being ready for us to add the tomatoes. So, I'm going to add the tomatoes, and I'm going to get the next ingredient out of the refrigerator. So, like I said, we're going to add about a generous, I'm going to turn you down where you can see. This is a generous half a cup with a few juices in there. All right. This is definitely, if I was making this for my family, I would double the recipe, but it is just me and Bryant tonight. And he actually has a board meeting, and at the board meeting, they feed them, so he probably won't eat much, so we may have leftovers of this. So, I'm going to get my next ingredient. I'll be right back. So, our next ingredient to go in is 1.5 cups of heavy cream. So, needless to say, to me, this is a meal for 2 that plan on having leftovers that can feed you twice. Or a family of 4. I'm going to need to get out another heavy cream. I don't have quite enough. So let me grab that. All right, I just added the rest of the heavy cream. It calls for 1.5 cups. And it calls for a tablespoon more of the seasoning. So I'm gonna actually measure that out. Hopefully it won't be too spicy for Bryant. If it is, he is getting another meal tonight, so I won't worry about it too much. I can call Isaac to come eat it. He likes spicy like me. He and I both like spicy. Caroline likes spicy pretty good. Jessica does not. Jamie doesn't really care for spicy. And Bryant definitely doesn't. So there is our beautiful sauce. Now we're going to add about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. And I'm just going to eyeball that, but you can definitely measure it out if you want to. I'm just going to eyeball it. So you may say, oh girl, that was a whole cup. It may be. I feel like that was probably 1/3. And there's 1/2. So, I measure with my heart. Do you guys measure with your heart? All right. So we're just going to let this cook on low till the cheese is melted and it's cooked down just a little bit. Make sure my flame is still on. I don't know how long we have had the house, but as much as I cook, I have not had to refill our propane. And and I don't go out there and check it. And so every day I look to see, is the flame on? Is the flame on? Okay. All right, so we're just gonna let that cook down just for a little bit. While that's cooking down, I'm gonna get my noodles in to boil. First, I'm gonna salt that water generously, because this is the only seasoning that the actual noodles themselves get. Now they'll get, this will be on top, but the actual noodle will not get any seasoning except for what you put in that water. Now I'm going to use penne pasta, and I have a 2-pound box, but it only called, I have not a 2-pound box, I have a pound box, but it only calls for 1/2 pound. So I'm just going to eyeball that again as well, and we're going to set our timer, and I'll see you in just a little bit. So I have pretty much cut off the sauce, and waiting on the noodles, and I have some parsley here, and I'm just going to just kind of chop off a little bit of it. We're going to lay that over there, and I'm just going to kind of bunch it up with my fingers. And I'm going to go through it one time like that, and then I'm going to pull up my sleeves. Got to pull your sleeves up when you go to work. And I'm just going to kind of give it a rough chop. This is just to garnish and be pretty. Nothing major, and we won't probably use all of this. Surely we won't, but it's chopped up should we need it. I'm going to turn this around and go this way. That way we're getting plenty of little pieces. I still have some big pieces over here that I'm not getting chopped well, but that's okay. Boy, this parsley smells amazing. I didn't realize parsley, I've used parsley 1,000 times, but my senses must be really strong today because it smells so, I don't know, it's almost lemony, peppery. I don't know. It's a great smell. All right, so there we go. I've got that ready. Just gonna wipe my knife off carefully, and it'll just be here when we're ready to use it. All right, so right here we have our shrimp. Here we have our sauce, and over there we have our noodles. The timer just went off. They are done. So I still have my measuring cup that I did the tomatoes and the heavy cream with. before I empty these out, I'm going to go ahead and cut the burner off. But I'm going to reach in here with this and get out some of that pasta water. Just in case we need it in the sauce. The reason you want to use pasta water is if you can see, do you see how white that water is? That is starches in there. If we were to add just water, it would make this runny. It wouldn't just make it thin it out, it would make it runny and watery. Whereas when we add something that has starch in it, it's going to tighten things up. It's going to do what we want it to do if we need to thin it out, but it's not going to make it watery. It's still going to keep it substantial. Those starches work that way. So, I know I'm not explaining that in technical terms, but those are in Leslie terms. All right, so we are going to go dump this out. I washed my colander out a while ago. We're going to go dump these out. I'll meet you back right here at the stove. All right, so I wanted to show you our sauce, how beautifully thick and wonderful and Parmesan-y it is. And Bryant's not home yet, but I did call him and told him supper's almost ready. And we're having a really, really early supper because he's going to his board meeting. So to our sauce, we're going to add our shrimp back in. This is going to be so good. All right, now I'm going to go grab that pasta that's draining, and we're going to add that in there. All right, and now we just stir everything around, seeing if we need any extra liquid. Which right now I don't think we do, but we might by the time Bryant gets here, because these noodles will continue to soak up this sauce, and so we may add that pasta water in just a little bit. So I'm going to let this kind of hang out right now, and we will garnish it in just a few minutes when Bryant gets home. I may heat it back up, and I'll definitely need that liquid then. So, all right, I'm going to wash up, clean up, and I'll see you back when he gets here. All right, I see Bryant pulling up, so we're going to stop cleaning for a little bit and finish this up. All right, so I am going to add a little bit of this pasta water. That was less than 1/4 of a cup. So we're just going to add that. See, it did not make it watery at all. It just kind of, you know, it just loosened up the tightness that had been created in here. So the first thing we're going to garnish this with is a little sprinkle of Parmesan. All right, so I'm going to put just a few of these little Parmesan sprinkles on top. Not much, because we've got plenty of Parmesan in that sauce. So there's that. Now let me grab our parsley, and I'm going to try to pick the finest, and we're just going to sprinkle that over top. And this is really just for looks, and because we eat with our eyes first and our nose and then with our mouth. So, all right, is that not gorgeous? So Bryant's here, he's freshening up, and we're gonna fix to enjoy some Cajun penne with shrimp. So I'm excited. I'll meet you over at the island when I get us a plate and plate us up some. Okay, everybody, look at that.
Looks gorgeous.
That is beautiful. Now, we're going to talk in just a minute. I've got my microphone on, right?
Yep, it's on.
I may be yelling and I don't mean to.
It's okay.
We'll talk in a minute about how, like, what other things you could add to this, because I've already thought about 4 or 5 different things.
Somebody's getting ready to walk in.
I bet it's Isaac.
It's Isaac. All right. What you going to tell them about it?
I'm not, they've seen me make it, so.
Huh? There he is.
There he is.
That is spot on. Got a little heat to it. A little heat to it. Not
Got a
much,
little
not
heat
much.
to it. So therefore, like I said when I made it, is you season to your taste.
Mm-hmm. What's it called?
It's just Cajun shrimp pasta, penne pasta.
Yep. This right here is a must make right here. Really good.
Now, I've thought of some things that would be really good in it, and that would be bacon. He's wanting he needs a shrimp.
He's wanting to try it off
He
camera.
needs a shrimp.
All right.
You could add bacon to it. What do you think?
Oh, that'd be great.
And instead of the diced tomatoes, maybe sun-dried tomatoes.
That would work.
What about mushrooms?
You can add any of those.
Yeah, so this is just a base recipe. You can take it and go all kinds of places with it. But, all right, so we're going to stop here and eat, and I'll come back and tell you bye in just a little bit. So don't go anywhere. I'll come back because we've got some exciting news that we're talking about.
We do.
And we're going to fill you in on this video.
At the end. Stay tuned.
Well, everyone, so I mentioned to you that there was some exciting news, and I had hoped Bryant and I could do this together and tell you guys about it together, but that's not the way it happened. We got in last night, and I went to see my niece so she could trim the back of my hair, and he had a board meeting, so we just didn't get to do it, and now today he's gone, and I've got to get this video edited out to you guys. So I'm going to give you a little teaser to it, and then he and I will discuss it more in depth with you guys, possibly on Sunday's video, but the title will always share if I'm going to say anything about it or if we're going to talk about it. But here is the thing Bryant and I are discussing, talking about, and praying about. We are talking about starting a second channel, only a 1 video a week, where it is he and I very much in like a podcast type style, sitting together, just he and I conversing one with another, he and I, and talking about spiritually many different topics and subjects. And then hopefully we would allow for some questions from you guys to be sent in and us to discuss. And it would be another channel that, of course, would be a free channel, not a membership channel or anything. It would just be a secondary channel, but it would only be like a once a week. And we're thinking about the title being Conversations with Pastor Bryant and Leslie. So I don't know how that goes, and we'll talk more about it when he's with me. But we're just thinking about it, praying about it, and seeing how the Lord leads there. So I just thought I would throw it out there and kind of get some excitement going if it happens. And if not, you'll whatever. But so yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. I hate he's not here. He had some urgent errands to run today. And so like I said, we will discuss this in greater detail, in greater length, possibly on the weekend wrap-up video. So, all right, I will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that dish. It was absolutely amazing. Isaac came over. He loved it. He came back over today, which is the next day, and he asked if I had any more, and I had just a little bit left in the refrigerator, and I said, yeah, there's just a little bit left. I said, I don't even know if there's any shrimp still in it. But he goes, it's okay, I want it. And he finished it up. So it was super good. Like I said, you can add to it or take away. You can take away some of the Cajun seasoning if you don't like that. You can add sun-dried tomatoes. That would be the change I made. Instead of adding just canned tomatoes, I would add sun-dried tomatoes. You could add bacon. Oh my goodness, it's endless, but it was so good. It is a base recipe, and you can add to it how you want. All right, guys, I'm going to go for now. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything. Bye, y'all.